So we'll discuss some Inyane Chanukah. So the Gemara tells us in Shabbos, on Daf Chaf Aleph Amud Beis, why is the Gemara in Chanukah on Hilchah in Gemara Shabbos? And number one, there isn't a Gemara on Chanukah, but the connection to Shabbos is the second parak of Shabbos, which is the laws of Bamed Balikim, Mamaim Balikim, about the 2 sugars and a milk. You follow?
Yeah.
It talks about what candles you could use for Chanukah, for Shabbos, and then the Gemara goes on to a discussion regarding Chanukah. So the Gemara talks about how many neiros is one obligated to light on Ner Chanukah. The Gemara starts off saying Ner Ishu Beso. The minimum obligation, if a person lights 1 candle every night of Chanukah, they fulfill the mitzvah of Ner Chanukah. You can't take away the mitzvah from them. You light 1 candle, or you light oil, whatever you do, and you do it 1 candle every night, that fulfills your minimum obligation of Ner Chanukah, Ner Ishu Beso. But the Gemara says, V'amahadrin, if you want to do more than just what you're obligated to do, you want to do something extra, so Ner L'chol Echad V'Echad. So, in our hypothetical, if you have 10 people in your household, and I'm not getting into who counts and who doesn't, but if you have 10 people in the household, so you light 10 candles every night. In other words, you count up the number of people in the home, and that's the same number you light every night. So you light 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. So the first level is Ner Ishu Beso, 1 candle every night. You want to do Hiddur Mitzvah, you light, in our example, 10 candles every night. And then the Gemara says the third thing, which would be a machlokes, the Rambam and the Bali Tosfos. V'amahadrin min amahadrin, and you really want to do extra special, not just regular hiddur, but a mahadrin min amahadrin. So it's a machlokes Beis Hillel Beis Shammai. So Beis Hillel says, we'll see how we learn, but simple pshat in Beis Hillel, he says you start off with 1 candle and you end up with 8, and Beis Shammai says 8 to 1. And the Gemara gives 2 reasons for each. Why does Beis Hillel say you go up 1 to 8, and Beis Shammai says 8 to 1? So first the Gemara says, Keneged Yamin HaYotzim or Keneged Yamin HaNechnasin. That Beis Hillel says what day of Chanukah it is, and that's your magic number. And Beis Shammai says how many days left of Chanukah. So on the first day you have 8 days, and you keep on going down. And then the Gemara gives another reason for each. The Gemara says another reason for Beis Hillel is Malin B'Kodesh Ve'ein Moridin, which is a big chiddush, but the Gemara says it, because usually Malin B'Kodesh means, let's say, you can have a choice this morning between putting on your tefillin first or your talis. So besides the issue of Tadir, one of the reasons given is Malin, but since tefillin has a higher level of kedusha than talis, so start off at the lower level and then move up. But here by Ner Chanukah, it's the same candle, yet the Gemara still uses the expression, somehow by having more candles, the Gemara seems to assume it's a higher level of Kedusha, even though it's the same exact candle. But Ma'lan B'Kodesh Ein Moridin. Or the second reason the Gemara gives to Beis Shammai is Keneged Pari HaChag, corresponding to the cows, the animals, the karbanos. What karbanos are they talking about? The karbanos they used to bring on Sukkot. In other words, the Mefarshim tell us each Yontav D'Rabbanan is patterned after a Yontav D'Oraisa. So it's a Shavuos, which is 1 day, so Purim is 1 day. Chanukah, which is 8 days, is patterned after the Yontav of Sukkot. So hence the Gemara's comparisons Keneged Pari Achag. Then the Karbanos, they went down every day. We used to bring 70 Karbanos, but they used to go in 13, 12, 11 in descending order. So Beis Shammai says, so too, we see a link between Sukkot and Chanukah, so too we should go down. Other connections between Chanukah and Sukkot are the mitzvahs done outside, at least Bisman HaGemara. They used to light candles outside, we sit outside in the sukkah. There's a halacha of 20 amas high for both of them. The Ner Chanukah can't be more than 20 amas high. A sukkah is psulo, malam, echafama, etc. So there are different distinctions, different comparisons as well between the Yontav of Sukkot and Chanukah. Right, you have a kasha?
I was just thinking, we use how frequently we do the mitzvah to determine the order of performance.
Tadir v'sheino tadir.
We put on talis 7 days a week to film it 6 days a week.
Correct. That's the reason why we put those are the two basic reasons why talis comes before tefillin, either because it's more frequent, and in addition, in this case, it's malin b'kodesh. Both principles work together. The Gemara in Zvachim has a discussion, which is really, if you have something which is more kadosh versus something which is more tadir, which wins? And that's the whole discussion in the Gemara in Zvachim. And it's not clear, which one wins. It's clear to us that we put on talis first, but actually it's a discussion. Gemara talks about karbanas. You bring a karban, let's say, which happens all the time, or let's say the karban Shabbos, gets into the discussion there. But that will be another discussion when we get to Tadir. So either way, the bottom line is, so Beis Hillel has two reasons, V'desh Shita, and Beis Shammai has two reasons. So what's Pshat Mahaj? What does it mean? If I want to be Mahajim in a Mahajim, usually we find that on a salami and some cheese. What do you mean Mahajim in a Mahajim? If I want to do Mahajim, what does that mean? So the way the Rambam learns the Gemara is giving us a third level. If the first level is near issue beso, 1 candle per household, and Mahajin is 10 candles per household, or 5 or 3, whatever you have in your house, Mahajin and Ahajin is adding to that. So the Rambam's example is, if you have 10 people in your home, and it's the 8th night of Chanukah, you'll end up with 80 candles. According to the Rambam, 10, 20, 30, you end up with 80. And Tosfos learns the Gemara differently. Tosfos says it's going back on near issue beso. It's not creating a new category. It's going back on category. If the near issue beso means 1 candle every night, Mahajim means you add another candle every night. So it's 1, 2, 3. According to Tosfos, you'll end up with 8 candles at the end of Chanukah.
That's an alternative approach, not adding on to the second.
Correct. So it's a machlokes, the Rambam and the Bali Tosfos, how you interpret. We'll keep the Beis Hillel, since, by the way, we pass like Beis Hillel, so we'll stick to Beis Hillel. Whether the Mahajin means, so interesting enough, usually the Sfardim follow the Rambam, and Ashkenaz follow Bali Tosfos. This is one of the reversals. The Sfardim are going to go with Tosfos. I mean, they're going to have, that minig is going to be 1 menorah per household, as opposed to the minig Ashkenaz, where every person, we'll get into that shortly. Joy was looking for you. You found her, okay. So if it's because near Chanukah, Shalom Bayis, so we took care of that first. So the question is, what is the Nekudas HaMacholis? Why is the Rambam or Mahajin is 80 candles? Well, Tosfos holds it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the Talmidei HaGra write that the Gemara gives 2 reasons for Beis Hillel Shita. So one reason is Malin B'Kodesh Ve'emo Ridin. Another reason is that you say you want to know exactly what day it is. Connected Yomim, you say there are 8 days left or 7 days left. So according to the reason Malin B'Kodesh, it's not an issue of being nicker what day it is. It seems to be the more the merrier. So the Rambam seems to learn that's the Iker reason, and therefore 10, 20, 30. In fact, if you'll notice 80 candles more than you'll notice 8 if you're walking by. So there's something about the more candles that seems to be a more of a kiyum and presuming nisa. Well, Tosfos says no. But I walk by, I think it's the 80th night of Chanukah. What's ridiculous? You have 50 candles out there, 80. There's something, according to Tosfos, it seems to be something this is the 3rd night of Chanukah. This is the 5th night of Chanukah. So it seems to be based on these 2 reasons of the Gemara. Is the Iker to have many candles or more? Or the Iker is no. The important thing is to know exactly. It's the mitzvah of pursuing Nisa is more prati. You should know exactly, this is the 4th night, this is how long the miracle is going. So that's how some explain. So we have a machlokas, Rambam and Tosfos. Rambam says you start with 10 and end up with 80, and Tosfos says it's 1 menorah, you go with 8. So as I pointed out, Sfardim usually have only 1 menorah in the house. Ashkenaz usually everyone lights. However, if you look closely, the Ramah and the Rambam aren't saying the same exact thing. They're similar but different. That you end up with the same amount of candles according to the Ramah. In other words, according to the Ramah, according to our minig, you have 10 different people lighting the menorah, so you end up with 80 candles. If you look at the Rambam seems to say the Baal HaBayis lights all 80. He's going to be busy that night. So So what's the machlokes here between the Rambam and the Ramah? What forced the Rambam to say that the Baal Habayis has to light all 80? We're familiar with the minhag of the Ramah, that each person lights their own candles. What's bothering the Rambam that he's saying the Baal Habayis has to light all 80 candles? So there's a famous Brisker Rav, Beis Halevi, on this. So he wants to explain this machlokes is to be consistent with another machlokes elsewhere. The Gemara, but we'll stick to Masechah Shabbos for now. But we'll move to Inyane Mila. Then we'll move to the 19th parak, which deals with the laws of Mila. And the Gemara talks about how does one perform the Mila. So there's something called Sitzin Hama'akvin and Sitzin She'ena Ma'akvin. In English, meaning there's certain parts of you have to cut off parts of the skin to fulfill your mitzvah Mila. So there's certain parts of the Mila you have to do. If you don't do it, you're just butchering the kid. There's no mitzvah Mila. You're always butchering him, but at least you get the mitzvah Mila. Here you're just butchering and no mitzvah. And there's others that sits in Ma'akvin, that no, you get the mitzvah Mila, but you're lacking in Hiddur mitzvah, the Gemara says. So it's part of doing the mitzvah properly, you cut off a certain amount. So the Gemara quotes a brisa. The Gemara says, if you did the Mila and you left out the Sitzin HaMa'akvin, okay, you have to go back. You haven't done nothing. However, let's say you did the Sitzin HaMa'akvin, but you left off the Sitzin HaMa'akvin. So if you're still involved in the Mila, so whatever that means, as long as you're still eating the bagel on lox, so therefore it's still part, or whatever is considered part of having a bris milah. As long as you're involved in the bris milah, then you could go back. Once you finish, that's it. You don't go back. That's what the brisa says. If you didn't go back for the sitzin ha'ma'akvin, okay, of course you go back, no matter when it is, because you didn't do the mitzvah. But if you did the sitzin ha'ma'akvin, but you left out the sitzin she'ena ma'akvin, so if you're involved, you go back. If you're finished, don't go back. So why wouldn't I go back? So the machlokes rishonim, what is this brisa talking about? So as I point out, we are talking about Masechah Shabbos here. So I think it's Rashi Shita learned it's talking about on Shabbos. On Shabbos it makes sense because we said even though the mitzvah of Mila is Docha Shabbos, we know like other mitzvahs, let's say shofar, lulav, we don't do on Shabbos, but Mila, which involves the Chi of Karis, we do Afilu b'Shabbos. So Mila is Docha Shabbos. Machshirei Mila isn't, the preparations aren't. So if you haven't done, so you're allowed to do the Sitzin HaMa'akvin. But now, if you only have the Hiddur Mitzvah left, who says you're allowed to Machal Shabbos for Hiddur Mitzvah? You can't go back for the Sitzin, which is a discussion. I'm not saying you definitely can, but at least it's a question mark. That for the Sitzin She'ena Ma'akvin, it would make sense that you can't go back. So therefore, Rashi says this price is talking about on Shabbos. And of course, during the week, if you left out, of course you go back. Yes.
As far as preparations, though, you can do preparations on Shabbos, right? Because of the fact the water situation is a classic when they bring water.
Well, the general rule is that's Rabbi Elazar's sheet. If you lived in his town, you would even go and cut up the wood to get the knife. But we generally assume you have to only the milas, but. Then but sarche, right? We can get a guy to do things, and there are other reasons. But that's strictly speaking, you're supposed to do all the makshiri mila before. You're push comes to shove, you're already in the middle. Then we still might do it. But the straight out. Yeah, I'm saying, but for sure that. But if you forgot the knife, you get the guy, or I'm saying, or do you wait? That gets it's a separate. But fundamentally, mila is docha shabbos, not makshiri mila. So I understand Rashi says he's talking about on Shabbos. I understand why not to go back on Shabbos. But other Rishonim learned the Gemara is talking about during the week. Like even this happens on Tuesday, you can't go back. Why in the world can't you go back on Tuesday? Bishlam is Shabbos, I understand.
Get like one shot.
Yeah, so the Brisker Rav says, what's in the Kudas HaMachlokes here? How do you view Hiddur Mitzvah? Well, we know there's a concept of there's the actual mitzvah, and then there's the Hiddur Mitzvah. Does Hiddur Mitzvah make sense in a vacuum by itself? But I'm just going to do a Hiddur Mitzvah now. The mitzvah I did 3 weeks ago, but I just want to do a Hiddur. Can you just do a Hiddur totally detached from the Ma'aseh Mitzvah? No. The only time Hiddur makes sense is when you're involved in the Ma'aseh Mitzvah, then you can do a Hiddur. So he says, so Rashi, so he says, Well, Rashi during the week, during the week he says you could do hiddur mitzvah, you could do even independently, and after it happened on Tuesday, you'd go back. The Rambam Shita is that hiddur mitzvah only makes sense in the context of the Maisa mitzvah. So kol zman I'm involved in the mitzvah, then I could do it. But if I did the sitzit on my akfid, and then like I saw whatever after the meal means, whether it's an hour later or the next day, then there's no concept. In fact, it might be usher because maybe it's chabura, maybe I'm causing damage. So the Brisker Rav says that's the machlokas here in the Gemara in Shabbos. How does one view hiddur mitzvah? There seems to be a machlokas Rambam Rashi whether hiddur mitzvah it could be done independently, but no, it only can be done. So the Brisker says it's the Rambam Lashid. This machlokas here, the Rambam and the Ramah. That's what we said. The Rambam Shita is the Mahadrim and the Mahadrin that you light 80 candles. 10 times 8 is 80, and that's the Minhag Ashkenaz we follow the Rambam here. We light 80 candles. The only difference we said is that the Rambam Shita is the Baal Abayis lights all 80, but the Ramah Shita is everyone lights their own menorah. So what's the issue? What's forcing the Rambam to say the Baal? Why can't everyone light? Why can't you let someone else light them? Why are you keeping it all for yourself? So the Brisker Rav says it's Shita. The Ramah goes with the Shita like Rashi. They hid everyone agrees. Once you light the first candle, the mitzvah is over, meaning that you fulfilled the mitzvah. Near issue beso, you light one candle, that is the mitzvah of near Chanukah. The next 79 are hiddur mitzvah. So the Ramah Shita is hiddur. A person can do hiddur mitzvah on his own. A person can light their own menorah, even though it's just a hiddur mitzvah. You're allowed to make a bracha on hiddur mitzvah. And the Rambam Shita is no. Hiddur mitzvah only makes sense in the context of the Maisa mitzvah. The only the person who lit the first candle could go ahead and light the next 79. So the Brisker Rav points that this machlokas, the Rambam and the Ramah, is consistent with their view regarding Inyani Milo, regarding the issue of hiddur mitzvah, whether hiddur mitzvah makes sense on its own or not. One could argue with the Brisker Rav and say that no, the Ramah also could agree you can't make a bracha on a hiddur mitzvah. He just holds that you don't have in mind when the other person lights, you don't have in mind to fulfill his mitzvah, which is a separate discussion what the nature of mitzvah of Ner Chanukah is. We'll have to continue, but to summarize, we had the Gemara, we had the first level, Ner Ishu Beiso, 1 candle per household, you get the mitzvah. Mahadrin, 10 every night. Mahadrim and a Mahadrin, so you had by Beisil Beishamai, you had the 2 reasons of each. Connected Yom and Hayot and Nachnaton, or connected Pari Achag or Baal Makodesh, and we see the link between Sukkot and Chanukah going down, but we see it's Malo Chavama doing the mitzvah outside, etc. 8 days, and so we have a machlokas Rambam and Tosas how you learn Mahadrim and a Mahadrin. Rambam holds 80 at the end of the day, and Tosas holds 80. The issue: is it important to be nicker every day? Connected Yom and Hayot and Nachnaton? No, it's Malo Makodesh. It's the more candles, the merrier. The more candles you'll notice on the street. And then we pointed out, even though we passed in Bnei Ashkenaz go with the Rambam that we light per household, so we'd end up with 80 in theory, but yet the Ramah holds each person lights their own, while the Rambam holds the Baal Bayis lights all 80. What's that all about? That's based on the Gemara in Shabbos, Tzitzit HaMa'akvin, whether during the week could you go back for Tzitzit HaMa'akvin. Rambam says no, the other Rishonim say yes. What's the issue? Could you separate hiddur mitzvah from the Maisa mitzvah? So that's all too here. Everyone agrees the first candle is the mitzvah. So according to Rambam, our minhag is you can do a hiddur mitzvah independently, but the Rambam with Shitason, hiddur mitzvah only makes sense in the context of the Maisa mitzvah. And that's whoever lights the first candle has the pleasure of lighting the next 79.